anywhere from 24 to 33% of the U.S. market is being served by Bing. This is Local SEO Tactics, where each week we bring you tips and tricks to get found online. This week we're going to be talking about something not our usual topic. We're going to be focusing on Bing. Usually we put a lot of energy into Google, which rightly you should, but you just can't ignore Bing. We're going to go through how it's up to a quarter or maybe even up to a third of the searches in your local market that your customers are doing. You don't want to miss out on that. Free, easy to get in there, and it's just something that you shouldn't ignore. So stay tuned. Hope you guys like this one and check it out. Hey everyone, Jesse Dolan here. Want to talk to you real quick about our instant SEO audit. If you haven't checked it out yet, get online right now, or I guess it's not that urgent. Like, if you need to use it, get online.
Oh God, get on it right now.
Right. Do it as soon as you need to. But no, it's a super cool tool, completely free. Takes about 15 seconds. And what it does is it just grades your page, right?
Yep.
So doesn't do the whole website, just individual pages. You plug in your web page, what you want to be found for, what you're trying to optimize the page for. And it takes about 15 seconds for it to churn out the results. And it gives you basically a big report card of the good, the bad, the ugly on that page. So it'll show the results, like I said, instantly on page. And it's also going to email you a PDF of that. So you can take it with you later, show it to your boss, your marketing team, whatever. And I always like to mention too, you can also do this on your competition. So if you're trying to chase somebody down in the rankings and they're ahead of you, I mean, saying, what are they doing that I'm not? Run them through this too. You know, you can see where they're at. It's pretty cool. Let's check it out.
Yeah, and it's another way too to test what we tell you to do to see if it's working.
Right. Implement some of these changes, go back, check your score, tweak it again. It's just a super cool tool. So check it out. Use as many times as you want. Go to intrix.com, top right corner, look for the yellow button that says Instant SEO Audit. Hey everyone, welcome back to Local SEO Tactics. Jesse Dolan with Bob Brennan, as always. And today we're going to be talking about something that's not a usual topic for a lot of what we focus on, but Bing. Everybody's heard of Bing, probably used Bing at some point or another on accident or on purpose, depending on what browser you pull open. But it's something that kind of goes ignored, and we wanted to give it some attention here. We definitely try to focus on it with our business, but it's usually like a B1 priority compared to Google. I mean, Google is just dominant, right? It's what we all think of. It's literally a verb. Bing really tried to make it a verb. Was it like MSN search before? So they came up with like a one-word thing too to be like Google. It's Bing it, right? But not quite as sexy. I mean, it's got a ring to it, but not quite as sexy. And but it is something that's popular. It's a good chunk of the market out there. So we want to focus this episode today on how to help you get found in Bing. So there's a couple different ways for doing that. We've talked a lot about Google My Business or GMB. Extremely relevant. Obviously, plenty of episodes. We'll link to a couple of them in the show notes. Plenty of episodes we talk about that, and you want to do that. But you can't ignore Bing Places. Very similar concept to Google My Business with some slight differences. And in some cases, some people like some of the features a little bit better. But really, it's kind of a Google My Business clone as far as the Places part goes. Similar process. You got to have a physical address. You got to sign up for an account. It's all free. But you got to have a physical address. They send you off a postcard for verification. You got to receive the postcard, enter in the verification number, and then that proves you're an actual physical business, right, with an address. And then you're listed on there. Just like the GMB, you can add photos, description of your business hours, contact information, and all that fun stuff. Something that's kind of a lot of people don't know though about Bing Places is if you go to Yahoo and you do some searches and you get some local results in Yahoo, that same kind of map pack, if you will, right? The ABC, the 1, 2, 3, with the map listing, and even AOL. If you go to those and do some searches, that's all Bing results. That's what feeds all that. So by setting up on Google, see, I just wanted to say Google there. It's just like Freudian slip. But getting set up on Bing Places, it's not just about Bing. You feed those 3 other search engines. Now, that's not as popular as Google, even when you combine all those together. But it's still something that is completely free. It's going to take you just a little bit of time to do it, and then you're up and running. Kind of the good part about that is a lot of businesses do ignore it, right? Everybody goes to Google. So if you got, 100 competitors or 50 competitors in town, the odds of all of them going and getting set up on a GMB are pretty good, or a lot of them are going to be on there. Are they all doing that on Bing Places? Probably not. I'm sure there's I didn't do the research on this. Maybe I should, and if I do, I can post it. But I bet you it's just not the same. It's just not a 1-to-1 ratio on getting set up on GMB and Google. I'm sorry, I did it again. And on Bing Places. So if you haven't done that, check it out. Some real quick stats that I did pull up. Went through a couple different sources, some from Bing, some from some other independent like Search Engine Land, some third parties. But in the U.S., this part's from Bing directly, so take it with a grain of salt, maybe a little bit on how they quantify the data. They use a third party to get these results, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. They say 145 million unique users each month are using the Bing network. Now, again, that's Bing, that's Yahoo, and that's AOL, and CBS, I believe. It was CBS Interactive or ABC Interactive. I'll make sure which one that is. That's a lot of users, though.
Yeah.
It's 320 some odd million in the U.S. Now, what are they searching for? How many searches? How regular it is? Don't know. But that's still a heck of a lot of searching. They had over 5 billion monthly searches in the U.S. I read another report that said 6 billion searches in the U.S. So 145 million users doing searches to total up to 5 billion or 6 billion searches.
That's a gob.
It's a gob, and you got some people that are definitely using it as their regular search engine. So anywhere from 24 to 33% of the U.S. market is being served by Bing. Now that's pretty big. There are some industries, niches and some verticals that maybe is a lot lower. Some it's possibly even higher. But if you just took it at that, even on the low end, being super conservative, 20% or 25%, that's a quarter of your public out there locally, a quarter of the businesses that you're A, ignoring if you don't do this, and B, some of your competitors are ignoring them by not getting set up in Bing Places. So just right there, I think that tells everybody you should get out there. Now, this is all in the U.S. Just for as far as a contrast, it says here 9.7% of global search happens on Bing. So not as popular outside the U.S. I know we've got some people outside of the U.S. We don't speak to that as much as we should, but not as dominant to the U.S. But if you are here, on the mainland, I'm sure in Alaska and Hawaii too. I don't mean to offend, the non-48ers, but definitely something you should take advantage of. And again, why wouldn't you? It's free. Potentially a quarter of your audience and your customer base out there is on Bing, and your competition probably isn't. So get out there.
And we talked about this as a strategy. Even if you don't have the time and the money, and you're absolutely bootstrapping, get your GMB and then get your Bing listing, and go from there.
Absolutely.
So a question I have, Jess, on the Bing
places. I know. Sorry. It's hard. It's weird to say. You don't say it a lot.
Here. GMB or Google has their own reviews.
Yeah.
Bing are they utilizing Yelp as their review engine? Is that the idea? Or is that a function? Because that's what I'm seeing here for us, at least.
Yep.
And just again, build your Bing Places, and you're going to have to go out and get Yelp reviews.
Yep.
So that would be the strategy if you could do nothing else.
Yep.
If you were so intimidated about website building or had no money at all, would be your strategy
for sure.
So again, if you're selling firewood, you have no money.
Mm-hmm.
You're nothing against firewood, but you get the idea.
Yep.
That is what you would do first. It costs you nothing other than your time, and you get that going, and then you build from there.
Yeah, and to an extent, like if for some reason, if you're a business and you just never were going to have a website, this can still serve as your website. You can use something like bit.ly, like a URL shortener. You can grab the link to either your GMB or in this case your Google, your Bing Places listing. That's third strike. Plug it into a bit.ly or whatever, and just get like a short URL you can put on your business cards, put in your email, whatever. This is a web page at the end of the day. It's out there. It doesn't have its own domain, like jesse.com or whatever. But it's something that you can put your business hours on. You can put photos of your business. You can put other descriptive information. And if you just are never going to get to the next level, having a website, you're right. This could totally serve as what you need there. I don't know why you'd do that, like stop there, and why you wouldn't maybe take the next level. Maybe temporarily this would be a solution, but cheap, free exposure, and most importantly, it's ranking in the map pack for these various search engines like we're talking about. It's GMB or the Bing Places, which is where you need to be. That's the new playing field for SEO, right? So that's definitely something that you're going to want to take advantage of.
You could test a market too,
Yeah.
Just say, hey, is there a need for this phone repair service in this market? I don't know.
Yep.
Let's throw up a GMB and throw up a Bing, and
Yep.
it costs us nothing, and put a phone number up there and say,
Yep.
hey, we're not quite open yet, or whatever the deal is for 30 days, and just see. And then if that works, then you roll it out.
Yeah, and once once it's tied in that physical address, it's yours. If for some reason that business fails, you shutter it, you start something up. I don't know, a couple days later, a couple weeks later, you can change that name. You can kind of rebrand it and re-go through it as long as you have that same physical address.
Right.
That's what they want, that proof. Now, they may ask you to re-verify it if you change a lot of information. But yeah, you're right. It's great as a free way to test stuff too. So a couple other Bing things we want to make sure we mention here. There's also a Bing Webmaster Tools, and I'll put a link to this in the show notes. That's very similar to Google Search Console, formerly Google Webmaster Tools. And kind of back in the day, I don't know if everybody remembers these services, but like you could get a disc from like up here in Minnesota, like Best Buy or whatever, like submit your website to 8,700 search engines and get listed everywhere. And it was actually quite a process to get listed into search engines, or just the very process took a lot of work. You don't have to submit yourself to these search engines anymore. What you do is get set up in their Webmaster Tools or their Search Console in Google's side. Bing has a great one. It's not identical to the GSC, the Google Search Console, but in some ways it has some tools that are pretty unique and maybe even a little bit better. It has some kind of cool site explorers to kind of crawl your website, and it shows you a little bit more than Google does in some regards there. But at the end of the day, this serves that purpose of submitting. At the end of the day, this serves that purpose of submitting your website to Bing. It's a free account. You set it up, you submit your sitemap, your website. That allows Bing to crawl your website and find all of your pages, so then it can put them into the index. Or think about it, we explain it to people like a file cabinet. If you don't tell Bing, here's all my pages, they can't put it in the file cabinet, right? So this is how you literally walk up to Bing and say, hey, check out my website. Here's all my web pages. File them away, and if people are looking for these things, pull them out and serve them up to them on your listing page. This is where you do that for Bing. If you list yours in Google, there's a chance down the road through different exposure and sharing, you're going to get found in Bing too. But if you're going to go through the process of having a website, again, this is free. It's going to take you just a couple minutes. Get verified. Get it uploaded and put on Bing too. Then you're going to be guaranteed to be in Bing. Again, if we're talking 20%, 25, 33% of your customers out there are using Bing at one point or another here, what the heck? Get it in there. Make sure you're popping up in the search results. So another super cool thing that Bing has that Google doesn't have right now, anything like this, it's called Bing Connected Pages. So we've talked in previous episodes, like if you have a Facebook account, right, or a Facebook page, I should say, with Google, you have to kind of send them the signals, and they need to see that name, address, and phone number consistent, and they need to then relate and say, this is their Facebook page, this is their website, these are connected. With Bing, you can actually tell Bing that these are connected. That'll do a couple different things for you. It'll help them understand, just your overall identity's breadth and reach, and that this is your Pinterest page, this is your Facebook, this is your Twitter. And then they can also give you some analytics and stats about those visitors and how cross-platform and where people are coming from, and really start to understand that. Because if they know this is your Facebook page and you're getting traffic, to your website from Facebook or different search engine results exposures, once they know this is all connected and part of your brand and identity, they can serve up a whole lot of different analytics to you and things like that. Completely free. I'll just read through some of the things that they can connect. They have MySpace listed on here. I don't know if I don't know if that's actually applicable at all. Just jumps out, but MySpace, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Apple Store, Google Play, LinkedIn, Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, Microsoft App Store. So, it's not the end all be all for connecting everything, but those are some pretty major players out there. And again, it's just a free tool. It's kind of like, hub and spoke type deal, right? Your website is the hub for everything. This helps them identify all different spokes and the different, spokes of your business and your entity. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That's something, again, it's completely free to set up. There's a lot of different crawlers and stuff here. I'm just kind of looking real quick through the list. I'll put a link to this in the show notes that you can go through Bing. What I like doing on some websites, whether it be some sites that we're currently managing, or if we're taking on a project for a new customer, maybe we're going to consult with them or just kind of give them our 2 cents, is to run their websites through Google and Bing. these are kind of like apples and oranges. They provide the same function, but they have completely different ways of getting there. What kind of results are there? What kind of errors are they seeing? Google is obviously dominant. And if we're going to choose one or the other, we kind of optimize for Google or fix Google's errors. But they're just going to show you little bits that are different. So even if you really don't care about ranking in Bing, I mean, they have some tools through their Bing Webmaster Tools that are still pretty useful for webmasters or for business owners, just to gain some insights on what's happening with your website. So if nothing else, I would for sure, check it out for that. So
yeah, it'd be interesting in another episode to dig into what would cause, like what might be good for Google would be bad for Bing or vice versa.
Sure.
And just, really dig into the SEO element of Bing. And again, it's not going to be one of those critical things you do. But it is it's 10 to 20% of search volume.
Yep.
You'd be goofy to ignore it.
Right.
But then again, it's doing the SEO for that as well. Piece. So.
That is a great idea. We should really kind of dig in and see where some correlation and some causalities are there, because again, depending on your market and where your customers are, if for some reason you uncover you're in that unique niche where a lot of your traffic does come from Bing,
right,
you're going to want to optimize for that, right?
Yeah.
So, and something else here too, I just got in the notes to discuss is this is all dynamic. If you go back a number of years, so like I said, the Bing network feeds Yahoo and feeds AOL. They used to be their own search engines.
Yep.
There's other search engines that may evolve in the future. Things are so dynamic and changing. We've got mobile. We use Siri. There's different voice navigation. I know Apple's working on their own Apple Maps, type deal. But in the past, some of that was kind of connected through Bing, right? Or some of the search results that Siri might serve up, were through Bing. I don't think they are anymore. But they could be again in the future. So whatever stats we're sharing here today are just current stats. This stuff could shift. Users could shift. If right now you're in a position where not all of your competition is playing in the Bing arena, if you can get in there, establish yourself, and if things start to sway the other way down the road, guess what? You're a leader. You're not playing catch up at that point.
Right.
You've been there. You've been dominant. You're in favor of Bing because they've had you in there for a while, and they're comparing somebody new against you. Why wouldn't you do it? So, is it going to transform your life and transform your business? Maybe not, probably not. But again, why would you ignore potentially a quarter or even, like you're saying, on the low end, if it's 10%,
right?
Who wouldn't love to have a 10% bump in your business? You know what I mean? So, get out there, check it out. Are you already listed or not? Do some searches in Bing. Compare, like Bob was just saying. We'll definitely do a future episode and some testing. It's going to take a little while, but on Bing versus Google and just the different tactics. But right now, search yourself. You know what I mean? Do it from a work computer on an IP. Do it from home. Do it on your mobile. Try to test it from a few different IP addresses so they kind of don't get your history and see the different locations. But test Google against Bing and just see where you're showing up right now. And get yourself registered, get on there and take advantage of it. It's free. Why wouldn't you do it? So
yeah, and I was just looking at one of our clients that came up on Bing, and they're in the map packs. They're number one, but their Yelp reviews, their Yelp reviews are like 3 or 3.5.
Okay.
And the number 2 guy's 5.
Yeah.
So, we got to talk to our client and say, hey, you need to use Review Lead, or
right.
you got to get your reviews up, because that will affect things, dramatically.
Yeah. Like I say, even if you're in the number 1 spot, but if the 2 or 3 people underneath you, second and third spot underneath you, I should say, has better reviews or more reviews, then the ranking doesn't matter at that point. Right. So that's a great point. So check it out, everyone. Again, check out the show page, intrix.com/show. We'll put all the different links and things that we're talking about here in those notes. Help you guys out. If you got a topic you want us to talk about or something to expand on, let us know on that page as well, intrix.com/show. This is where we get our ideas from you guys, what we want to talk about. This is where you guys tell us what's important. Ask questions, clarify. If we say something wrong, let us know there too. Any feedback is good feedback, right? So go ahead and reach out to us, intrix.com/show. This week here, let's get into our 5-star review of the week. We've got a great one here from HCSMSD. Says, 5-star review, so thanks for that. Says, people get so caught up in social media and don't want to think about SEO, but this podcast tells you why you need SEO. Easy and actionable steps. Thank you very much. This is what we're trying to do. Let people know that you still got to do this stuff and to an extent, social and SEO, it's kind of all blended up nowadays too, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to have a strategy. There's so much to do. You can't just have a Facebook page, or you can't just have a GMB, or you can't just have a Bing Places, or just a website. To really be out there and dominate and be a big factor in your local market, you have to have all of this, and you have to kind of tie it all in together. So hopefully week to week, we're helping you guys kind of navigate those waters and get this all figured out. So thanks for the great review. Everybody else out, love to get a review from you. Helps us out in iTunes, helps us get more exposure, and helps us just feel good too. We like reading them, we like sharing them, and when we check this out every week, it's like, oh, we got another review. We're doing an awesome job. Soon to make $1 million, I'm sure. But no, it's just great to get good positive feedback. Everybody loves it, including us. So intrix.com/iTunes, we'll take you to the spot to do that, and we just love to hear from you. So let us know. All right, everybody, that's about it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.